Hello everybody and welcome to Willadine's Kitchen. Today we're going to be preparing some chicken soup. Down here in the South we do a lot of chicken noodle soup, chicken rice soup. I mean we make lots of soup with chicken here because all of those chickens running around in the backyard. We find lots of different ways to cook them up. So this time we're going to add a little Mediterranean flair to our soup. So what we're going to do first is we have to get us a nice chicken stock going. So what I have to start off with is I have a chicken thigh and leg quarter here in the bottom of this pot. And we're going to add the usual ingredients for a stock. We have onions, carrots, celery. We have some garlic here. I have some sprigs of rosemary. For a little bit of spice, I have some jalapeno here. And we're also going to add a couple of bay leaves to this chicken in the pot. We're going to pretty much fill the pot up with water, bring it up to a boil, and then we're going to make us some nice chicken stock. Now, when I make chicken stock, it takes me a few hours. So we're talking 3-4 hours to get this stock that I'm looking for. So we're going to get the stock going, and then we'll come back and we'll show you how we're going to put together this very flavorful, tasty chicken soup. Okay, so we're going to continue with making our soup. We made our chicken stock, which I have 3 cups of chicken stock here that we're going to use to make the soup with. We also have a chicken breast that I seasoned. We're going to cook this chicken breast and we'll add this breast meat to the soup. The soup is going to be a chicken and rice soup with a little bit of orzo pasta. So in this bowl I have wild rice, white rice, and some orzo pasta. In this bowl I have some celery, onions, and garlic that I put in the food processor and just had that finely diced up. We have some freshly chopped thyme and rosemary chopped up here, maybe about a tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half of the fresh herbs. We have some ground coriander, half a teaspoon of white salt. We have a 1/4 teaspoon of granulated garlic and a 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper. That's going to go in the soup. And we have, for thickening agents, we're going to start off with 2 egg yolks that we're going to use to thicken the soup with, along with some cornstarch. Yeah, we'll make a slurry with this. We'll add some water to the cornstarch if we need to thicken the soup up any more after we add our egg yolks. So I'm going to start getting the chicken cooked off here, and we're going to get this chicken soup put together. It's very cold outside. It's going to go good on a day like today, the afternoon of chicken soup, and we'll be back. Okay, so we have our chicken cooking in the oven. We're going to add some oil to this pot that we have here on the burner. And the first thing I like to do is just kind of sweat out my onions and celery here. So we're going to add that to the pot. We'll let this cook for a minute or two to release some of the good flavors in this mix of celery, onions, and garlic here. Then after we sweat this vegetables down some, we're going to add our stock to the pot, and then we're going to add our rice. The rice has to cook for about 15-20 minutes for it to start to get soft and tender, and then we'll add our remaining ingredients and we'll get the soup thickened up. Okay, so now that our vegetables have been cooking, our celery, onions, and carrots for a couple of minutes. They released a lot of flavor. I could smell them here in the kitchen. So our next step is we're going to add our stock to this. And we got to bring our stock to a boil before we add the rice. So we're going to bring this pot to a boil and then we'll add the rice into the soup. Okay, so our rice has been cooking for about 12 minutes now. The kernels are looking soft. They still may be a little bit firm on the inside. I'm gonna give it a quick taste here to see. Now we have some wild rice in here. We have some orzo and we have some white rice. So we're just gonna give this a taste. Yeah, and it's still a little bit firm on the inside, so we're gonna let the rice go for another 4 or 5 minutes. I'm noticing we need some more salt here. The soup is a little bland, so I'm going to add another 1/4 teaspoon of salt to the soup, and then we'll come back and we'll start working on our thickening agent. Now, we're thickening this soup with a European method of using the egg yolks and the cornstarch just to add some thickness to the soup. So what we have to do is we have to taper in the egg yolks into the soup because we don't want to scramble the eggs. We actually want the eggs to thicken up the soup. So we taper it in by adding a little bit of the liquid from the pot to the eggs a little at a time until we bring the eggs up to temperature, the egg yolks up to a warm temperature, hot temperature, and then we'll add it to the pot. So we're going to let the rice go for a few more minutes, and then we'll start tapering in our eggs to the soup. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to temper the egg yolks with some of the soup broth. So what we're going to do is I have the soup broth over here. I'm going to take some of the broth and add to the egg yolk, and then we're going to mix that in here like this, and we're going to slowly heat up the yolks to the same temperature as the soup, and then we could add it into the soup without actually scrambling our eggs. So add another spoonful of hot liquid here, and we're going to keep stirring, and then we're going to add another spoonful. This is going to bring the eggs up to temperature, and you can feel a bowl. See if your bowl is warming up as well. So we're going to add some more here. And like I said, this is the way they kind of do their chicken soup in the Mediterranean. They use the eggs to thicken up the soup, and they add a lot of lemon to their chicken soup as well. Today we're just kind of going with the garlic flavor and the fresh herb flavor of the soup. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add these eggs to the soup, and we're going to start thickening it up. All right, so now that our eggs have been tempered, we're going to add the egg mixture to the soup, slowly stirring it in there, because we want to get a silky texture to the soup. It's going to look a little creamy even though there's no cream in it. And slowly add this egg mixture in here. And as everything warms up, we should get a nice silky thickness to our soup broth here. So there we go. We have our eggs in there now. We're going to stir this. We can see it. I can actually see it thickening up already. Oh, it's looking good. So I like soups. They're not very hard to make. Soups come in every flavor and texture that you might like. And you know, you have your chunky soups. You have your consommé soups, which just mainly broth. You have your vichyssoise soups, which are cold soups. Some of them are cold. Gazpacho is a cold soup. You have seafood bisque. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this cook for another couple of minutes to thicken it up well. What I'm going to do now, since we're almost done, I'm going to add the fresh herbs in as well. And I have the chicken over on the side, and we're going to add the chicken into the pot as well. Okay, so we're going to add the chicken to the soup. And we're going to cover it up, let it go for a couple of minutes. I think soups taste better as time goes on. The flavors get to blend and meld together and gives us a nice flavorful soup. So what you're going to do at this point, I think my soup is thick enough. You will taste your soup, make sure you have enough seasoning in it, and then you'll be ready to serve. Okay, everybody, our chicken and rice soup is finished. It's in the bowl here. I have some what I call fried tortillas to add a little crunch to the soup. I mean, the texture looks good. It looks creamy, even though there is no cream in this soup. It has a nice color to it as well. I think it came out great, and we're going to give it a taste, of course, and see what it tastes like. But I think we have a really good soup here. And I could see you may be adding some other vegetables to this if you like. And like I said, in the Mediterranean, they add lemon juice and some lemon zest to kind of give it a little more flair to the soup. But our consistency is good. It's nice and silky, and it has a good color to it. So I'm very happy with how this came out, and I hope you enjoy the recipe as well. Okay, so it's time for the taste test. We're looking at our bowl here. You can see the rice, the wild rice. There's some orzo in there, and we have the chicken as well. So we're going to give this a good taste here. Tastes like chicken soup, very good, delicious. We have this crispy tortilla here. Oh, this is good. I think you will enjoy this soup. I want to thank you for watching my videos, and I will put the ingredients for this recipe down below. So please enjoy. Thank you, and have a good day.